Hi folks, I have a hair cutter, hair clipper, dog clipper, you know them clippers that trim up hair. You get all your different attachments for different lengths. These type of things, they clip on the end of it. Well, this particular one went dull for trimming the dogs for the summer months when it's really warm out. So the dog hair pretty much dulled them up. So I'm going to sharpen them. Actually, I already did sharpen them. And then I realized that, oh, I should have made a video. So I'll make a video now once they're already sharpened and just basically explain what I've done. So all as I used was a magnifying glass so I could inspect the teeth that actually do the cutting. And what I did to sharpen these up is I used a sharpening stone and a piece of sandpaper. Now all you want to do is inspect the cutter part. You'll find out which the cutter part is, and you want to take the same angle and you want to rub it smoothly, gently, and firmly and flatly on the sandpaper and the stone or whatever else you might want to use to sharpen it up that has a grit to it. A grit meaning a rough edge. Sandpaper has a rough edge, a cutting edge, and a stone has a cutting edge. Now there's all types of textures and smoothnesses. Sandpaper, you don't want to hold in your hand to do it. You want to put it on a solid surface so it remains firm when you're going to be rubbing up your cutter edge on that to sharpen it. Now there's two halves that basically do the cutting. And that's the trick. You want to make sure you're flat, the same contour as the blade itself, and then just go back and forth. You can go back and forth, you can go this way, doesn't really make a difference. The idea here is just to sharpen it up, to give its edge back to it, so when the hair passes through the two blades, the cutting takes place. And over time, they just get dull. In between those little lines, you'll see all those little lines there. That edge kind of gets dull. So you just want to basically sharpen it back up. So when the hair goes between these two cutters, and it does the back and forth motion, those two edges are going to be sharp and it's going to cut that hair, whether it's your own hair or whether it's your pet's hair. This here is especially for the pets, for the dogs, the puppies. Cut their hair for the summer months. And then I use a magnifying glass to inspect the sharp edge. And if it looks okay, well then I call it over. And if it still looks like it needs a little bit more sharpening, well then I proceed and sharpen it a little more until I'm satisfied with what it looks like. And there's another way you can do it if you're not real good at it or you're not familiar with how to do it, is you sharpen them, clean them up. You don't want to leave any grit left in between here when you put it back together on the cutter itself, because if there's any kind of grit, then that grit is going to basically grind away inside there and create some damage, which you don't want. So you want to clean these really good. You don't want to drop it like I just did. That can pose some dullness to it just by dropping it. And when you put it back together, give it a little bit of oil and give it a try. If it worked okay the first sharpening, well then you're okay. And if you're not satisfied after the first sharpening, they come apart simply. If you're not satisfied after the first sharpening, we'll just simply take it back again and give it some more rubs back and forth on that grit, on the grit surface. And then just clean it again, of course. I couldn't stress how much you do not want any kind of grains of anything in here, because that's going to create damage. You want this to remain clean. Just reassemble it together and try it again, and just keep basically keep at doing that until you're satisfied with the clipper and how it cuts. And when you put everything back together, make sure you have the teeth lined up so they're not crooked. Make sure they're nice and straight. You don't want it to be crooked like this. You want it to be nice and straight. So when the hair comes in contact with them two cutters, and this goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it's going to cut each and every hair that enters them cracks. This here unit was a real cheap unit, but it works good. The motor works good. It's just the blades, they get dull. And I imagine a very expensive unit would be the same thing. Well, folks, I hope your clippers stay sharp, and thank you for watching, and subscribe if you have not, and thank you very much for those that have.